Welcome back, nerds. Fino here with a guide for the first round of Ordeal Call challenge quests. These give items you need to clear class score roadblocks, so you'll want to get them over with. If you're unfamiliar with class score or the Bleached Earth free quests, I have guides on those which you can find on my channel or linked at the end of this video. Our first stop is Eastern Europe, where you'll find Residue of Fresh Blood. Wave 1 has a set of bronze enemies that showcase the trash bomb mechanics for this fight. The riders can apply Terror, a delayed stun, both on their attacks with a low probability and on death with a high probability. The on-death version stays on its target until it procs. The Berserkers reduce your defense on hit, and on death, they reduce their killer's max health by 1k. You can honestly just use a rush to kill this initial set of enemies. He'll have gone to the store to get some SIGs, so the enemy on death effects just fizzle. I ran an overcharged starting charge combo on mine, but you might not need to go that far if you're willing to card down the rider. Wave 2 is where the real fight starts. The boss of this encounter is an assassin giant ghost with 3 health bars and massive damage reduction. You have to weaken this protection by killing these side enemies, but these have those on-death effects from earlier. The ghost itself has turn-to-turn mechanics too. It applies a curse on hit, and with AoE attacks, those are going to pile up across your frontline. It can also steal your stars to give itself crit buffs. Supposedly this only happens if you've got more than 10 stars. It can also send out a delayed insta-kill effect onto a single servant. Lucky for you, it doesn't do this often, so you just need to cleanse it off. Now, as of this writing, the Wikia claims these effects are tied to whether you have a curse or not, but I honestly don't trust it. Ordeal Call era content is inconsistently documented on that website, so there's a non-zero chance you're walking into a buzzsaw whenever you take it at face value. For this particular fight though, it doesn't really matter. You'll want to regularly cleanse off your debuffs, probably with Castoria's help. If you chain your attacker's Noble Phantasm into hers, she'll gain an extra stack of protection, which is nice for reducing attrition. For my part, I chose Taisui to lead the charge. He's a welfare alter ego from the Water Monsters Crisis event, and as an alter ego, he's suitable for fighting all 3 enemy types in this fight. Better yet, his Contagious Curse mechanic is very nice for fights where you're dealing with a large number of trash mobs appearing around a single boss. As he wipes them out, his curse spreads onto the boss and eats away at it even while its protection is strong. For consistency, I also equipped him with 2 types of command codes. White Vessel's Command Seal to cleanse off major debuffs during Castoria's downtime, and the Mirror of 8 Leaves to shield him against stuns. It's possible to run multiples of both, but this isn't strictly necessary to clear the fight. On first break, the ghost gains anti-curse damage, so it'll hit very hard. But by the time you get to this mechanic, its protection should be weak enough where a face race is possible. On final break, it'll drain your meter and use its Noble Phantasm, which has an AoE skill seal. Might be worth bringing the Atlas uniform to cleanse out of that one. It's also worth noting it has a smaller charge drain as a regular skill, which is going to suck if your units are NP1. For this reason, you shouldn't commit any battery skills unless it actually gets you a usable Noble Phantasm. Otherwise, the placeholder ghost might play keep away and break you at 90%. Our next encounter takes us to Russia, where we take on the powerful in the Frigid cold. This is a fight where you're up against the foreigner Koyanskaya of Darkness, the rider Dobrynya, and a number of assassin Oprichniki. The idea is that if you don't use demonic beast servants, you have to contend with lower NP gain, which hypothetically makes it harder for you to maintain damage in this fight. This would suggest that servants like Summer Ibuki and Summer Kiara would have an easier time here, but I honestly didn't bother with that approach. I also suspect it has alternative mechanics you'd have to deal with, because at the start of the fight, Dobrynya fishes with a skill that has no effect against my non-demonic beast frontline. I'll also note that while the Oprichniki are locked out of their Noble Phantasms, they do have anti-demonic beast damage. If you're going to go this route though, you could also use Tiamat, though she doesn't really care about the NP gain effects one way or the other. For her part, Koyanskaya turtles up with debuff resistance and defense. Neither is insurmountable as it turns out, because I used the Oprichniki as an excuse to run Taisui again. He has offensive class advantage across the board, and is particularly good at hitting Koyanskaya behind Dobrynya's screen of effects. On first break, Dobrynya gives her team increased buff and debuff success chance, while Koyanskaya gives out a removable invuln pierce. She also sends out an enemy team aura for debuff resistance and damage reduction, which lasts as long as she's alive. For you, she throws out an end of turn effect that I stupidly forgot to read. I just cleansed that shit off immediately. On final break, Koyanskaya sends out an effect package that I suspect is meant to cripple human attribute servants. Taisui is Earth and Castoria Star attribute, so it completely fizzled against my frontline. Around this time, Dobrynya sends out a massive stack of crit chance and crit damage buffs to her entire team, while also taunting herself. An AoE buff purge would save you a lot of trouble at this point, but it's tragically one of those things that Taisui just doesn't have. What you can do is equip him with crit buff removing command codes and target Dobrynia. In all likelihood, she's going to be the last one alive, and stopping her from one-shotting your units is pretty important. On Dobrynia's final break, she gains a full NP meter and the ability to use it again on the next turn. Between this and the crits, she has the potential to obliterate your frontline, so you should try and have a Castoria NP combo ready on the turn you pop her last bar. Worst comes to worst, keep a backline that can immediately buff up to finish Dobrynia. The last challenge quest we currently have access to is Undersea Fairy Tale, right off the coast of Australia. In this one, a mighty merman leads an army of sea creatures to take you down. The saber crabs up front taunt themselves and give the other enemies massive damage reduction against AoE noble phantasms. You'll have to eliminate them to make any real headway. The berserker sharks buff themselves with a single hit crit chance buff that they regain at the end of every turn. If you can't break the defensive screen, they'll grind you down over time. Though the sharks are bronze enemies, all foes in this fight have 2 stacks of insta-kill immunity, so I wouldn't bother with that approach. The crabs and mermen have low death rates, so you'd have to commit a large number of resources for minimal gain. The early phase of this battle is just mustering enough damage to kill the 2 crabs. All enemies in this fight are Earth attribute, so Summer Ibuki Doji slaughters them all with relative ease. If you're having trouble with the DPS check, try borrowing a strong one off your friends list. Once all the crabs are dead, the merman is going to be the big issue. He has 2 health bars clocking in at about 1,000,000 each. He might not seem all that threatening with all the other enemies eating up his action count, but once they're gone, he can chain his skills into some pretty vicious combos. On break, he gains a trio of on-hit effects. His regular attacks remove a buff, his crits reduce your charge, and his noble phantasm applies NP seal. This is particularly dangerous when he uses martial arts demonstration, High Tide, a reusable skill which gives him full meter and lets him combo into Aqua Jet. That NP purges buffs after it hits. If he nails your main attacker, like what happened in my first Ibuki run, you're in for a long and painful fight. Alternatively, he could use martial arts demonstration, Tidal Bore instead, which gives him attack, defense, and invuln pierce at the cost of a self NP seal. The good news is that if he uses this, he won't do High Tide right away. There are a few ways to approach this fight. If you're going to use Summer Ibuki Doji as your main attacker for the entire fight, I'd strongly recommend keeping a Tantra of some sort for that turn where you break the merman's bar. Ideally, you could use Jufu with Outrage and swap her in for that specific moment. If you break your Chaldea Boy's ticket and don't have Outrage, or even better, the fabled Guda Guda poster girl, then you can swap Jufu anyway and tag Ibuki with her battery. This will give her purge resistance, and in combination with a proper protection buff, it'll let Ibuki take a single Aqua Jet without losing her momentum. Alternatively, you could come in with a big dick archer to take out the crabs, and then follow up with a single target saber to rush down the merman. As painful as it is, leaving the sharks alive may be to your benefit, as this should stop the merman from doing the High Tide Aqua Jet combo in a single turn. And if you're watching this after New Year's, the Samurai Remnant Saber is quite good for this fight, despite being an AoE. He can use his crit buffs and anti-demonic power mod to slam dunk the boss, though you may still want an archer for the initial crabs. Good luck, lads. Let me know what you ended up using to clear the fights. Like if you found this helpful, subscribe for more Ordeal Call and specifically Paper Moon coverage, and come watch my twitch.tv/Finotaisen where I'll be contending with Ordeal Calls of various flavors. The Saturday this comes out, I'll be playing through JP's Trinity Metatronius, and on Sunday I'll be doing NA's Ordeal Call quests live on stream, also finishing off Ort on my meme account and rolling for Lilith as well. Quite a lineup if I do say so myself, so you won't want to miss it.